Jesus said, "Then the king will say to those at his right hand, 'Come, you that are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you gave me clothing. I was sick, and you took care of me. I was in prison, and you visited me.' Then the righteous will answer him, 'Lord, when was it that we saw you hungry and gave you food, or thirsty and gave you something to drink? And when was it that we saw you a stranger and welcomed you, or naked and gave you clothing? And when was it that we saw you sick or in prison and visited you?' And the king, poor beggar, was just the epitome of the start of the Dark Ages. He was barely clothed and it was cold. He was emaciated and he was hungry. He was just poor as could be. He had no money at all. He had no home. He slept in the 4th century equivalents of culverts and underneath bypasses. He was just a wretched example of a human being. And then the antithesis comes along. A cavalry soldier with a beautiful, beautiful uniform, with a hat with, the cock on it. It's mighty stallion. And he rides up, and as he rides into town, he sees this poor wretch of a soul sitting there. And the cavalry soldier, impulsively, without thinking, cut his uniform in two, his clothing, and gave it to this freezy beggar to round around himself. The first comfort that man had probably in weeks, if not months, if not years. Carol and I were newlyweds in Dallas, and we were, of course, lay people at the time. I was a lay person at the time. And we were the sponsors of the youth group at the Church of the Incarnation in Dallas. We were the EYC sponsors. Heavens, we were only a few years older than some of them. And it was about that time that Andrew Lloyd Webber's, is that his name? Came out with that great rock opera, Jesus Christ Superstar. And there is a song in Jesus Christ Superstar called The Temple. Now, I haven't tried this, so we'll see if the feedback here is not too horrible. And if my new gold iPhone will recognize my thumbprint, at least. Let's see, listen to it. Do you sometimes have a sense that there's too many of them and too little of us? That's not the way that we're supposed to behave. We have been gifted, very gifted people. We could go out and take that attitude, and if we did, we might as well close the doors here. We might as well make this into a chapel for personal devotion. But what we found, much to our delight but not to our surprise, is this is a very, very generous place. You are generous with your time and your energy. My goodness, if we could have bottled all the energy last night in the Great Hall and just sold it for a quarter a bottle, we would have $1 million endowment. I think there was so much love and so much energy. And if I wasn't misreading things, our guests last night were having a really good time. They could sense that this was a place of love and care. But it doesn't stop in the Great Hall. Because we're going to go out of this door this morning, and each of us in our own ways, as representatives of St. Martin's, are going to go among those wretched beggars, those people who can't see, those people who can't talk, those people who don't have enough food. And in the name of God, we're going to be Christ's hands and feet in this world. And it happens because of that divine economy that you practice. God has given you gifts and talents and resources, and you have given them back. You give them back to a world that desperately needs it, a world that's torn by strife and violence and poverty and hunger. And you and I are Christ's hands and feet in that world. We have been empowered to minister, And you have accepted that charge, that mantle, and we will go forth from this place this year and next year and for years and I hope decades, if not centuries to come, to minister in God's name. Back to that Calvary. He had a long day, and he went to sleep that night, and he had a dream. And Jesus appeared to that Calvary. You remember the one who sliced his cloak in half and gave it to the poor freezing beggar? And in his dream, Jesus appeared to him. And Jesus said, Martin of Tours, that's our patron saint, you clothed me this morning. Martin of Tours, you clothed me. In other words, when we go out of here as representatives of Martin of Tours, we're to look for the Christ in all people. Because the Christ is there, waiting to be served, to serve us, and to be served by us. Martin, you clothed me. And when St. Martin woke up, his cloak had been restored.